Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update. The afternoon update with Lynlee Foo.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to Good Tech, where we spotlight the inspiring ways technology meets purpose, innovations that don't just disrupt industries but change lives for the better. Now, imagine needing to call your doctor, your bank, or even just a friend, but you can't hear their voice and you can't speak back. For many in Singapore's deaf and hard of hearing community, that's been the daily reality. Today, we shine a light on CallBridge, a homegrown solution that's changing that reality. And joining me in the studio are the co-founders of CallBridge, Yoshi Tan and Cody Tan de Xuan. Yoshi, Cody, welcome to Good Tech.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, I guess it's the first time on radio.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, most of us don't think twice about picking up the phone. But for thousands in Singapore's deaf community, that simple act can feel almost impossible. Yoshi, Cody, when did it hit you that this was a gap technology could fill?
Yeah, to give some context, our whole team didn't really know each other at first. So we actually joined this hackathon called Community Hackathon, organized by the People's Association and Open Government Product. And from there, for 1 month, we had to build a solution for the community. And we shared our visions and goals and aligned that we wanted to do something for communities that had not much going on or support going for them. And so we really wanted to do something for the deaf and hard of hearing community. So we reached out to quite a few organizations to find out more about the issues they face, etc., and found that they take slower to respond. So we decided to take things in our own hands and actually go down on the ground to really talk with the people from the deaf and hard of hearing community. From there, we spoke with them and realized that a lot of the issues they face, there were a lot. And so we saw this issue where a lot of times they miss their medical appointments or they have to delay them because of their reliance on maybe interpreters or having to get their friends and family to call them instead. So because of all these things, we realized that there is a gap in the ability for them to access these services or hotlines because they are only phone only. It just takes more time for them if they have to take leave to go down to access these services.
Okay, just to put things into perspective, I think in Singapore there are only about 7 full-time interpreters serving a deaf community of over 6,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for the 6,000 number, it's actually the number of people registered under the Singapore Association of the Deaf. But actually in Singapore, the number is still quite unknown. It's much larger with over 500,000 deaf and hard of hearing members of varying levels.
Okay. Now, walk us through it. Say I'm a CallBridge user and I need to call my clinic. How would that work? Cody?
Yeah, so I think firstly, to build on Yoshi's point, I think for me personally, I think it's really about building with the goal or intention of empowering the users in making a phone call independently without the need of a third-party involvement, right? And I think to build on your point, on your question as well, I think to give you a scenario, let's say a user named John, for example, who is hard of hearing, and he needs to make a medical appointment, for example. Traditionally, he would need to, get a family member or let's say an interpreter involved to really, have as minimal barrier and as latency as possible to really get through the, I really want to book a medical appointment, right? But I think with CallBridge itself, it's simply as he can just open the app, make a phone call and just make the appointment itself with the call recipient, which in this case is the medical professional that's taking the call.
I see. So when they respond, the voice is instantly transcribed on the screen?
So essentially how it works is it's the text-to-speech and the speech-to-text technology.
I see. It's two-way too?
Yep, two-way.
And in real time?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yoshi, any thoughts on this?
I think Cody explained it quite well. But to give a perspective of how the user flows, basically the user just needs to open the app, dial the number through the app, similar to Telegram or WhatsApp. And from there, they'll see a messaging screen, similar to what we usually see on WhatsApp or Telegram as well. So how it works is that this messaging screen showcases the phone call happening in real time. So for the deaf recipient, they just need to type down what they want to say to the recipient. So everything that they type will be converted to speech, which the recipient or the hotline staff can hear. And whatever the hotline staff says will be transcribed into text, which the recipient can see. So they'll be able to see the whole flow of the phone call in real time.
Any considerations about privacy?
Yeah, no, definitely. So we definitely have login features, encryption and security standards as well. So we definitely make sure that the privacy and all those matters are held accountable. Yeah.
Okay, so you really don't need a third person in this conversation.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'd love to hear about some of the impact that CallBridge has made so far. So what is some of the feedback you've gotten from users?
Yeah, so actually, CallBridge is still quite early and new. So we just started our pilot program starting 1st August, and it's going to end mid-September, so 1.5 months. And we've onboarded 10 different deaf and hard of hearing users, 6 coming from the Singapore Association of Deaf. So it's a collaboration with them as well. And so from these 10 users, the main goal was to see what issues or problems were there in the user experience and how can we make this app really provide value for them in their daily lives. And so there are both good and bad feedback.
Okay.
For the good feedback, we realized that there are quite a few ways that they can use CallBridge. So usually what we thought was, okay, they can just use CallBridge to make phone calls, etc. So that's one. So they can make phone calls and get their inquiries answered. So they've actually called bakeries, StarHub before, and they've gotten their inquiries answered without having to go down to these different outlets, which is fantastic. And secondly, something that we didn't realize that they could do, they can actually use CallBridge to check who gave them the missed call, which they didn't have the ability to do before. So that's something that they also like to use it for.
I see.
Yeah, but for the negative feedback, we are working on them as well. But I think what we realized was quite interesting is that actually there were not many issues with the user experience from the deaf user side. What we found was the issue really came more from the recipient's end. So we realized that one of the biggest problems that they faced were recipient dropping off their phone calls. And it wasn't anything to do with how they were communicating or how the app works. And so we actually went on to further test with hotlines as well. So we worked with People's Association and the Public Service Division to test out these calls with them to see how they felt about these calls. And we found out that there were a lot of issues with, firstly, the voice initially sounded a bit more robotic and it sounded a bit scammy, which led to drop-offs. Secondly, the biggest issue was that the time taken for the deaf user to type had silent. There'll be silence for a few seconds because the user is still typing. So this makes the recipient feel as though maybe the user has already dropped off. And so we've made quite a few changes with that. We added typing sounds, we added acronym mapping so that TY can be translated as thank you straight away. And important information such as contact number, postal code can be typed out and easily transcribed in the way that it should be. Yeah.
Cody, any interesting stories from those feedback?
Yeah, I think to be on his point, right, I think it's really about ensuring real-time performance, right? Any disruption in the conversation flow could really bring a lot of frustration to both the recipients end as well as the deaf and hard of hearing community users end. Yep. And I think we really went down to, do the on-the-ground pilot testing with them. And it was through this 1 month of pilot testing that we really went on to get all the user feedback and all the consolidated check-ins with them as well to really understand the specific needs that the deaf and hard of hearing people are facing currently.
Okay, so, building something like this definitely is not going to be easy. So what were some of the biggest challenges?
I think there are two main challenges. You can add on later, Cody. But I think the first challenge is that I think all of us have our own schedules as well outside of this. So this is something that we do as a side project as well. So I'm working full-time and the rest are also finding internships and all studying in university as well.
Yeah.
So finding a time to really be grounded and disciplined to continue doing the good work is a bit of a challenge. But luckily we're in the accelerator as well under open government product. So that's been helping us. And I think secondly, just being able to continuously get feedback and prioritizing what really is needed to make the app valuable for all our users is a bit of a challenge as well. But we're working on that.
What about the technical aspects?
Yeah, I think for the technical aspects, as we, pilot test with our users, right, there are a lot of things like latency and also like whether or not on the recipient's end, because Yoshi was mentioning how we are testing for not only the user side, but also the recipient side as
That's
well.
right.
Yeah, so mainly to, reduce the call drop-off rate, when we receive a number call from CallBridge itself, how do we tell whether it's from CallBridge and not just like a random scam, from a scam call? Yeah, so really working to fine-tune that area of technology.
Wow. So lots of testing, fine-tuning, and design adjustments.
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to come up with this and launch it?
Well, we started mid-June and we managed to get an MVP up by in 1 month. So that's around mid-July. And then from there, we had 2 weeks to kind of fix some things, make improvements before we launched it straight to pilot. And so for the past 1 month, we've just been working hard and every single day and night to make sure that we continuously improve it based on the user feedback. Because we do weekly check-ins as well with our pilot users.
I see.
So we can immediately push out new improvements every single week too, so that they have a new version of the app every single week to try as well.
Okay, what role does AI play in this?
I mean, we haven't really integrated
If
AI
any,
much
okay,
yet.
okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're only doing quite basic text-to-speech and speech-to-text technology for now.
Okay.
But in the future, we definitely do have ideas and thoughts about how we can implement it, especially with making the communication much more seamless between the two users. Yeah.
Okay, looking ahead, where do you see CallBridge going? Cody?
Yeah, I think for us itself, right, I think really just the immediate milestone that we want to achieve is this Saturday. So we'll actually be participating in the Build for Good Accelerators finale presentation.
okay.
It's going to be from 12 to 5 p.m. at Tanglin CC, where we really present like the progress that has been beyond our hackathon phase itself. And it's really just a time to really show our existing partners and our users, where we'll be inviting down some of our deaf and hard of hearing guys to come down to really listen in and to, really look at the amount of progress that we have really made throughout the whole 1 month of pilot testing and fine-tuning of the app itself.
Wow.
But I mean, after the pilot as well, we do have a few things in the roadmap. So I think firstly, our main goal is going to be pushing it to the App Store. So I think our prototype MVP is more or less somewhere there already, where it does provide value for our users. So we're looking to launch it to the App Store and Play Stores in the next few weeks, months. So that's one. Secondly, we're also still looking to further our partnerships and collaborations. So firstly, partnerships with hotlines. So
Right.
currently like SCDF, People's Association and PSD. We're looking to continue partnering with them to get them CallBridge certified, which means getting their staff to be trained to know how to take calls from our app so that our users will have confidence in calling these hotlines. And at the same time, expanding the breadth of hotlines that we are partnering as well. And I think we're also looking into making this app more accessible by partnering with telcos. So we've had a call with StarHub recently as well to see how we can provide cheaper and more exclusive plans for CallBridge, because this is the first time that our users will have to use call time from their prepaid plans as well. So we're looking at all these, and hopefully we'll be able to have a sustainable and valuable product in the future.
Before you go on, I meant to ask this earlier. What kind of language support do we get? Is it just in English, or do we have Chinese as well?
I think right now we are purely English because our main goal is really to make sure that the core functionalities of the app really stands its ground and makes sense and is valuable. But in the future, we've definitely gotten feedback and ideas from the deaf and hard of hearing users on the ground, and they do want that kind of features as well.
Mandarin and Malay
So it's
and
definitely
Tamil,
the roadmap.
right?
And we'll see, so that they can communicate with hotlines or other recipients who are of different languages as well.
Yeah, I think it's important because I'm just thinking about integrating CallBridge into essential services like emergency hotlines. That will be very, very useful. And beyond Singapore, any plans? Too early.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Actually, to be on your point on like expanding across like the whole Singapore, even like out of Singapore itself, right? Actually, we are in talks with National Helpline Line 1771 to see how we can, collaborate and, push it in terms of like how we can better integrate CallBridge into more emergency hotlines, even in the mental health care space as well.
Wow, cool.
But I mean, outside of Singapore, I think it's definitely not something that's in our roadmap for the next 6 months. But I think once we get traction and we see the value in Singapore, we'll look into exploring the scene outside.
Yeah, because anyone, anywhere can make a phone call, right?
Yeah, for sure.
On their own terms as well.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, what's the one message you'd like listeners to take away?
I think for a lot of listeners of Money FM, I think something that I would love to share is that I think for my whole team, we came in not knowing each other and going in this wanting to do good for the community. And I feel that, especially now, I think we all have a part to play in the community. We are always siloed and, in our own bubble. So being able to have the open mind to really do good in the community, in different other communities that maybe you just never really heard of the problems they face. I think you have the energy, you have the time now. Every single small step counts. So I think just take the first step. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to take risks, and don't be scared to fail, and do good for the community. Yeah.
Cody?
Maybe I can give a perspective from a university student, right? I just matriculated into uni recently.
Right.
And I think the main maybe tip or advice or like the guidance that I've actually received from Yoshi himself as a product manager, guiding the whole team through the journey itself, is really to, go go out of your comfort zone, experiment with something that, you have some form of passion or interest in. It can be helping, something to do with community impact. It can be in the form of like social good as well. It can be as simple as, volunteering your time for a needy community. Right? I think all these things will play a part, and I think for uni students, we are also trying to build our portfolio as well, right? So I think this is a really good chance for you to see your work going into real life impact, really impacting the real users that really need the assistance as well.
Beautifully said, Cody. Yoshi, Cody, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for showing us how technology can give the gift of independence. This has been Good Tech. I'm Lynlee. Stay with us on Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.